Good morning, Primary 2. Well, today we shall be revising a little bit on changing states. So I'll go through it with you. Remember, we had the 3 states of matter. The first one was boiling. And boiling is a term used to describe liquid turning to gas at a higher temperature than evaporation. So if I would leave this pan of water on the fire for a very long time, it would completely evaporate and there would be no water left. And if I left the windows closed in the kitchen, all the windows would be covered with condensation. Condensation is also liquid. So if we carry on, different liquids boil at different temperatures. You can see steam rising from boiling water as it is a mixture of water vapor and small droplets of water that make it visible. So here we go to condensation. Condensation is a scientific term for when a gas turns into a liquid. So, as I said before, when we boil water in the kitchen and we leave the windows closed, when we look at the glass windows after that, they are wet because they are covered with condensation. Let's go to the pink part and read together. You can see this happening in hot rooms when the water vapor in the air touches cold glass of a mirror or a window. The water vapor cools and turns into water droplets that make the glass look misty and cloudy. So let's carry on. Freezing. Freezing is what happens when we put ice or water, when we put water in the freezer, yeah? So freezing occurs when a liquid is made very cold and becomes a solid. When water is put into a freezer, it will become ice. Different elements and compounds have different freezing points. Melting. So if we take that ice out of the freezer and we put it outside in a cup, eventually that ice will melt. If it's very, very hot, then the ice will melt much faster than if it's cold. Look at the picture. You can see a branch covered in ice. It's most probably been snowing. And you can see that the sun is shining on it, so it's starting to melt. So melting happens when a solid turns into a liquid from being heated. Different solids melt at different temperatures. Solidifying. So remember in class, we talked about melted chocolate. And you have a piece of melted chocolate and you put it in the freezer or you just put it in the fridge and it will become solid again. So as you can see in the picture, some liquids do not need to be cold to solidify. If you have butter, for example, and you melt butter and then you just put it into room temperature, and when you put it into room temperature, the butter gets hard again, yeah? And the same happens with chocolate. Chocolate is solid at room temperature, does not need to be frozen or chilled to become solid again. But if your chocolate melts in your hand and you put it in the freezer, then it will become solid again. Particles. So this is what we looked at in class. We had said that the particles which are closer together are the solid particles. That's why it's harder and heavier. The liquid particles are a little bit further away from each other, and the gas particles are